On May 24th, Uvalde, Texas, a small rural town, was shocked by violence and terror. 18-year-old Salvador Ramos shot his grandmother and went to Robb Elementary School, where he callously took the lives of 19 children and 2 teachers with a handgun, an assault rifle, and his body covered in armor. So today, we're revealing how celebrities have reacted to the Texas school shooting. First up, what did one famous Uvalde native have to say about the catastrophic mass shooting incident? Sadly, just 10 days before the Uvalde shooting, another 18-year-old walked into a grocery store in the city of Buffalo, New York, and cold-bloodedly took the lives of 10 innocent people in a racially motivated hate crime. Like the Uvalde shooter, the young man was covered in body armor and armed to the hilt with assault rifles. The Buffalo shooter even live-streamed the cowardly deeds in real time, seemingly proud of his actions. It's become clear to the world that America has an epidemic of gun violence that is showing no signs of slowing down. In the wake of the aftermath of Robb Elementary School, Uvalde native Matthew McConaughey has pleaded for immediate action in an emotional statement, saying, "Action must be taken so that no parent has to experience what the parents in Uvalde and the others before them have endured." McConaughey's calls for action are joined by celebrities and public figures who are demanding stricter gun control legislation. The children murdered were between the ages of 7 and 10. Because the full details surrounding the Uvalde mass shooting are still developing and pouring in, we don't have the complete picture just yet. But we do know that the incident is the deadliest mass shooting at an elementary school since 20 children and 6 adults were killed at Sandy Hook Elementary back in 2012. Next up, what else do we know about McConaughey's call to action? McConaughey took to Twitter and vented his frustrations, saying, "Once again, we have tragically proven that we are failing to be responsible for the rights our freedoms grant us. The true call to action is for every American to take a longer and deeper look in the mirror and ask ourselves, what is it that we truly value? How do we repair the problem? What small sacrifices can we individually take today to preserve a healthier and safer nation, state, and neighborhood tomorrow? We cannot exhale once again, make excuses, and accept these tragic realities as the status quo." McConaughey also pleaded with Americans to reevaluate and renegotiate their wants and needs, and added that Americans have to find a common ground above America's tragic reality that has sadly become a children's safety issue. McConaughey insisted that society must do better and that actions must be implemented so that no parent is forced to experience what the parents in Uvalde had been forced to endure. And McConaughey isn't the only famous Texan to voice their anger and frustration. Selena Gomez took to Twitter and asked a simple question: if children aren't safe at school, where are they safe? She followed up the questions by saying, "It's so frustrating and I'm not sure what to say anymore. Those in power need to stop giving lip service and actually change the laws to prevent these shootings in the future." Up next, what have other celebrities said about the Robb Elementary School massacre? Kourtney Kardashian had something to say about the vile incident that took place in Uvalde, Texas, and took to Instagram to give her thoughts. Kourtney said, "How have we gotten to a point where it is acceptable for our children to be murdered in schools? Schools should be a safe place where our kids go to learn, a safe place where they can envision their futures, not a place where their futures are taken away from them." Kourtney further demanded that lawmakers hold themselves accountable for the brutal plague of gun violence that has infected American society, and to put a plan in action to protect the country's babies. Kris Jenner, Kim Kardashian, and Kylie Jenner took to Instagram as well, calling the event at Robb Elementary inexcusable and devastating. Khloe Kardashian even begged government officials to do something about the problem. Khloe said, "It was enough 10 mass shootings ago. It was enough after Sandy Hook. What good is our freedoms when there is no protection of our lives?" Other public figures are incensed as well. The head coach of the Golden State Warriors, Steve Kerr, is absolutely disgusted and has had enough. During a pre-game press conference in Texas on the same day of the shooting, Kerr flatly refused to answer questions from reporters about basketball and instead chose to essentially lash out at lawmakers for their inaction. The issue hits especially close to home for Kerr, whose father was fatally shot in a terror-related attack. At the press conference, Kerr said, "When are we going to do something? I'm tired. I'm so tired of getting up here and offering condolences to the devastated families that are out there. I'm so tired of the, I'm sorry. I'm tired of the moments of silence. Enough." Visibly angry and upset, Kerr took aim at lawmakers, specifically specifically Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, and lawmakers who refuse to do anything about school shootings and grocery store shootings. Stay tuned and don't go away, because we're revealing everything we know about the reactions of celebrities and public figures to the Robb Elementary School shooting. Next up, what else did Golden State Warriors head coach Steve Kerr have to say about the mass shooting in Uvalde, Texas? In his fiery speech to reporters, Kerr said, "I ask you, are you going to put your own desire for power ahead of the lives of our children and our elderly and our churchgoers? Because that's what it looks like. It's what we do every week." Famed NBA star Steph Curry stood in solidarity with Kerr. In a post-game interview, Curry said, "For Coach to come up here and say what he said, every word that he said was powerful, was meaningful. I've got kids. Send them to school every day, drop them off, and you feel for the parents that are going through what they're going through. I can't even imagine the pain." LeBron James took to Twitter and echoed Kerr's anger and frustration. James tweeted, "When is enough enough, man? These are kids, and we keep putting them in harm's way at school." Kerr's speech was followed by a public response from Taylor Swift, who said she was filled with grief and rage at how the American people have become conditioned and accustomed to living with mass shootings and the unbearable heartbreak that they create. Swift also addressed Kerr's press conference speech, saying, "Steve's words ring so true and cut so deep." Up next, what does Formula One racing champion Lewis Hamilton have to say about the Uvalde incident? On his Instagram account, Hamilton said, "Praying for all the families who lost their child. I'm also praying for all the kids in America who are at risk every day by just going to school." Soccer star Megan Rapinoe had a lot to say as well. Like Kerr, it's clear that Rapinoe is at her wit's end with America's gun violence epidemic. Rapinoe said the only reason an AR-15 exists is to murder other human beings, and that it isn't used for any other purpose. Rapinoe vented her anger at politicians who argue that the solution to the problem is to arm teachers, saying, like, so they can kill someone? Like the logic to stopping a mass murder is to murder someone? Like it's just completely insane. Rapinoe then expressed her and her team's condolences to the families of those impacted by the Uvalde massacre and said, "Things need to change. And I just don't know how much more of these we want to see, because they're just going to continue to happen every single day until we do something about it. It's become clear to many Americans that legislators simply don't care about the issue, so long as gun money and radical gun lovers continue to line their pockets with cash. It seems like so long as the families of legislators aren't impacted by gun violence, they aren't concerned about the issue." And you might be thinking to yourself, well, who cares what celebrities and public figures think? So, we'll explain why celebrity voices and opinions on the gun violence issue matter. Celebrities and public figures have a way of influencing and swaying public opinion. So, when a famous celebrity or public figure express their anti-gun views, it could translate to real anti-gun votes from members of the public, something America clearly, desperately needs. Finally, here are the names and the faces of the precious lives that were senselessly taken in the Robb Elementary School shooting in Uvalde, Texas. Alexandria Ania Rubio, Alethea Ramirez, Amory Joe Garza, Annabelle Guadalupe Rodriguez, Eliana Cruz Torres, Eliana Eli Garcia, Jackie Cesares, Jayla Nicole Silguero, JC Luevanos, Jose Flores, Layla Salazar, McKenna Lee Elrod, Mady Rodriguez, Miranda Mathis, Navia Bravo, Rogelio Torres, Tess Marie Mata, Uzziah Garcia, Javier Lopez. Teacher Eva Morales worked at Robb Elementary for 17 years. Eva died trying to shield her students from gunfire. Teacher Irma Garcia worked at Robb Elementary for 23 years. Irma died trying to shield her students from gunfire. This video is dedicated to the memory of those lost.